rituals for damn near anything you want to do, and we could give them to you tonight.
Chris V. Still get it from the intellect reservoir. Cosmic surfing, these two sons of God didn't come from virgins. Ether makes up these gods. We rode light angles to the earth plane. Again trapped in skin, but a different name. Monads, been here since Ruth and Moabs. Thought you killed me when Drew and Marcus got toe tagged. That's why I'm here with the Grand Chairman of Fear. Truth make you think critical like severe. Doing the God things, I make ancients appear. And all I'm hearing is knocking while I'm watching a seer. Ancient rituals and sound healing notes through Pro Tools. Eye-to-eye transfers knowledge, you need no schools. Waking up the masses, music is classes stage. Most fail cause they look like the flying shades. Following demons possess Kanye's and Lil Wayne's. Expecting a hippie with a cross and a Greek name. Inner melanin calls me D&B, the link up with no cheese. Orisha's in me, I'm not what you don't see. I'm not one of those armchair revolutionaries. Allah's in me, sick and tired of being sick and tired. But that's just where we get our strength, man. The Christ is in me. I'm not a hustler, pimp, gangster, wankster, but trust me, they all in me.
I got it when the moon shifted the tomb in the melanated womb. Sipping milk in the honeydew and triple black, boom, touchdown. Traveling on planet Earth where we crush clowns. While I'm managing this curse and preparing the elixir that turns copycats into kitty litter. These poor pussies pretending to be misters. I cannot sin, but I can be very sinister. My limitations are limited as I do a lap around the galaxy. Had to gather light and rally back and fuck the fallacy. And cause of that, I got labeled the antagonist. And it didn't help that I cuss and bun cannabis and bun candles and wear symbols of Orishas. And I put a hex on the heads of 7 preachers with one trailer spit aimed at the pulpit. Crushed a crucifix, a whole tabernacle backflip. I'm not Catholic, but if I choose my bare resonance, you may just catch a glimpse of Lucifer's semblance. Up and down Jacob's ladder with my melanin, the vessel of no fear none. You can find the devil in.
God's in me, I say that's so serious. Turn a nigga to a god, show you I'm serious. Got him proclaiming, name changing and facing with no guilt or fear. All these clansmen masons, we stand on squares, circumscribe our own circumference. Goddess Lakshmi bless me with abundance of prosperity. I speak with clarity, not to confuse. Put Moorish in front everything from Christian to Jews. I'm the anchor, so I don't listen to news. On some snail type vibrations making me snooze. Calling a Parker to call down our UFO crews. Like Yahweh or Dogan shamans, we call on Ra Amen. For sun ritual, spiritual, I'm physically trapped. Rewind, play back, and get your pioneer tap. Like Gregory Hines, when I'm spitting the rhymes. A&Rs want me to blow, but all rights reserved when we sign. Inner melanin calls me D&B, the link up with no cheese. Orisha's in me, I'm not what you don't see. I'm not one of those armchair revolutionaries. Allah's in me, sick and tired of being sick and tired. But that's just where we get our strength, man. The Christ is in me. I'm not a hustler, pimp, gangster, wankster, but trust me, they all in me.
Alright, so let's pour the libations. Omagumu, Olensu, Shumala, Otisha, Chiaja, Cheoa, Alcala, Locayo, Kakambo, Lalila. I need some halala shades. Issa, Amanu, Naku, Nana, Imatu, Tuti, Juba, Joba, Egati, Kasimbo, Nizaba, Isala, Abiru, Azuzu, Tupa, Numaresh, Aloria, Ida, Ayo, Everett, Ragma, Notorio, Oru, Edu, Yuju, Yahana,
King Boom.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know the true Ali. Started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know the true Ali. Started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know the true Ali.
order. Active Moors are truth and take it to the corners. Across highways, past hedges and through borders. Move on dirty Moors like broken down waters. Watch out for agents and provocateurs trying to get next to their heads with the doctor's cures. They never pay dues and don't pay dues, contradicting with King Alfred to give blues like news. Noble True Ali died from pale more blues. Prophet saved him his money before the floor fell through, and that's true. Even though I don't have proof, selling memory tells me don't fall for spooks. Drop mental nukes, hanging from their own vine from the fig tree, looking up at him like Big B. No white flag or mercy for you fags. 5 point and pentagram is on our flag. Green, but not for cream. That dirty Moors took to throw off the balance of the grand treasury books, getting offers like high school ballers. Those that infiltrate are not Moors but robbers, robbing the people blind, deaf, dumb, and crippled. They can't tear this up, not one drop or trickle. No matter how hard they try to perpetrate the fraud, dirty Moors always fall on their sword.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it.
Me nah play with on so simmer and easy. From 19 how long, me see it's sleazy. So sick, it's measly and disgusting. Everyone stood there. The Moors did nothing when Drew was attacked. They took the covenant that they will protect him and have his back. Behind on dues by 4 months. Going to kangaroo courts to perform stunts. Temples versus temples. Lawsuits from inner fights. Not doing their job, 3,500 for birthright. Mufti Force left supposed to be in Gucci soldier. Gotta thank Allah for the Sufi Moors and Buddhist Nagas. Moorish mic renaissance, not rap sagas. Confusion clearer, MC battle scar wearer. Moorish nationality declarer. Straighten out the crooked ways, rap conduct squarer.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it.
Let me strip them down, I'm the bone bearer. Negro black colored minority death preparer. Not the being but the label attached. See me like Martin going crazy, waving gas. Cause you call yourself black, that's a kick me sign on your life. Can't stab your enemy holding the blade of the knife. Numbskull MCs flow, so does that. I'm pulling down Orishas like skull caps to torture the rapper, scissor sippers. Rapper CD scratcher, insert ripper. Call me Jack and get slapped though. Admiral when I flow, major like macro. Don't spit on a cameraman like Pac will, but beat the case like Black Bill with no lawyer. Ask Jim Carrey, liar, liars do nothing for you while they get rich and pour you. Make you follow magistrate orders that get the coke to snort from wood corners and block ghetto. All I see is rappers, dress codes, repedo, tight shirts, skinny jeans looking like heavy metal bands. I'm not babe but L like Gred and Hands. I grab mics, no sweat in hands, with birthright brands. I don't worry about getting scanned.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. They know what you are, leading, started dropping it.
What up?
Peace, Moors. Islam to all the Moors, worldwide, all the Moors everywhere. Honors to all the Moors. So we told you your own is selling you out. Forget Moors selling you out. Everybody else selling you out too. Everyone. Because like we're going to say it again. If they're going to tell you all this conscious, metaphysical, holistic health, whatever, and not mention Noble Drew Ali, they're probably a fraud. They're probably lying to you. Even though their stuff works. They're still lying. Because if they know about Noble Drew Ali, they know you're not Negro, black, or colored. They know that you're not Negro, black, or colored. And they're going to make you think that Noble Drew Ali and what he brought isn't the movement. You know, look at me over here, some guy with a dashiki, that's the movement. Or the guy down there talking about they come from some other planet. What they got is the movement. Or somebody over here got bow ties on and suits and stuff like that, and what they brought is for our salvation. Then the other guys over here that's saying some king from Ethiopia is their god or whatever like that, and what they got is what it is. Then the other ones over here telling you about everybody belongs to some tribe of 12 Asiatics or whatever like that. Not 12 mothers, 12 dudes or whatever. And everybody comes from these 12 men in some tribe. Right? That they're the movement. That's where we should be going for our salvation. Or the guys over here that have onks and stuff like that, and they're talking about, you know, Kemet and back to Africa and back to everywhere except dealing with where they're at. They always want to go back to somewhere, but all of them are staying here. If you're so back to Africa, why are you here still? Why are you still here in America? If you're a slave from Africa and all that, why are you still here? Go back home then. Just like what the European says, go back home. Go back to Africa then. Think these Europeans didn't know what they were talking about? They're trying to slap you, wake you up. You know, they're racist. They're racist against us because we're the black guys of the whatever. And they're telling you go home. But you're staying here. You said you're from Africa. So go home. Or you're not going to go home. You're going to stay over here. And then rape the Aboriginal and Indigenous people stuff. Just like the Europeans doing. And then we're supposed to ride with you people? You're doing the same thing the Europeans doing. Misclassifying us so we could suffer. So the Negroes who called themselves black had a movement. The Negritude movement. Remember, they say they come from Africa and all that, right? So this is their back to Africa people. The Negritude movement. You even know there was a word called Negritude? Why is there a word called Negritude? And it's related to Negroes. Why? Just because they're racist? So you really think that because they're racist is why there's a word called Negritude? And then you miss the whole thing, because all our people do is look at stuff emotionally. They don't look at stuff with logic. They don't look at stuff with common sense. They don't look at stuff using facts. All they use is their emotion. And they never get it. Ever. It always goes over their head. And then they say somebody's racist. No, it went over your head because you're a dumbass. Because you're around here talking about some back to Africa or whatever, when you're following a Negro movement. Anything that these people say is for our liberation of our people. And they're not talking about nationality. That's Negro stuff. All of it is Negro stuff. I don't care how you're going to paint it, decorate it. I don't care how you're going to color it. It's Negro. Color it however you want. Whatever you're talking about, you're dark skinned, you're melanated, you're so-called black, you're so-called conscious and all that. And you're not talking about nationality, you're a Negro. Stop it. You might be able to fool these people out here who are playing you out of your birthrights in your own land, but you're not going to fool the indigenous Moors. So it's either you don't know, which if you don't know, then the next opposite thing to do is to know. You're either a traitor or you just don't know. Because we've been through all the schools of thought, so we know that everything's a fraud, because nothing tells you about nationality. Only the Moorish paradigm does. Nothing else tells you about nationality. Everything else tells you about nation. And you were a nation of 5,000 years ago, people. But what are you today? Dumb nigger? That's it? So 50 million years ago, you were the rulers of the planet, or whatever like that. Right? You were Fujita and all that stuff, just flying, going everywhere, blink and go where you're supposed to go, and then now you're a dumb nigger. And you're not concerned about how you lose your stuff? What's missing? How come we went from that to this? This is where we are now? Do you know what building a pyramid means? And then now we're in what we see right now. And we had pyramids made of limestone, and you could see that from the universe. But that's on Earth though. But you could see it from the universe. Whether it's flat, square, triangle, doesn't even matter. Off this thing right here that we call Earth, you could see stuff that we built. And those people weren't black, or Negroes, or Africans, or ancient Egyptian, whatever. They weren't none of that. But that was back then. What are you now? Are you them now, or are you some dumb nigger now? Because you've been chasing people instead of studying. Because if you study, you realize your own sold you out. And everything they do is under the brands of Negro, black, or colored. And that's the only way you're going to get anything called whatever it is that you want. Only way you're getting it from them people is if you say you're Negro, black, or colored. If you don't say that, they're going to use your own to bend you and contort you into being that. And majority of people are going to go be that, you know, because of the conditions our people are in. But the Negritude movement, for all the blacks out there who want to pretend like they're not Negroes, well, we know you're Negroes. You don't have a nationality. You're a Negro. The literary movement, Negritude, was born out of the Paris intellectual environment of the 1930s and 40s. It is a product of black writers joining together through the French language to assert their cultural identity. Aimé Césaire was the first to coin the word in his epic poem. My negritude is not a stone, its deafness hurled against the clamor of the day, but instead his negritude takes root in the ardent flesh of the soil. Poetry was created that would make a definition of negritude. These poets were brought together to create the journal The West Indian Journal was too assimilationist, and they found that Narder Sisters Journal too bourgeoisie to truly represent the French-speaking black experience. The Harlem Renaissance inspired negritude. Authors such as Claude McKay and Langston Hughes laid groundwork for black expression. Senor Damas and Césaire together drew influence from their work. Negritude responded to the alienated position of blacks in history. Negritude, blacks. Oh, so those two things are the same thing. They're not different. They didn't call it blacktitude and then say black people. They call it negritude and said black people. That means it's the same thing. And Noble Drew Ali told you that you're not Negro, black, or colored. Because all those are synonyms that they're going to use interchangeably to create jurisdictions and put you in it. And once you're in that jurisdiction, you're nothing but these people's ward. Which is why they push the black leaders in order to put you in the black, Negro colored jurisdiction that Noble Drew Ali told you that that's not who you are. But, you know, don't take it from us. Because we already told you about it.
Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quickies. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try? What does more mean? This has been a question that many of our people have asked. The problem is that many of our so-called scholars have said that more means black when the origin of the word did not. So let's quell this once and for all. First off, let's start with our Superman, our Kal-El, our PhD in Moorish history scholar, Dr. Ben, and hear what he says.
There came a time in 1506, after we lost power in Spain. The Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S.
Dr. Ben said we were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S. Many people are familiar with M-O-O-R, but not M-A-U-R. If we go to the Hieroglyphics Dictionary by E.A. Wallace Budge, we find that the word Moor, M-A-U-R, is in the book. The meaning is stated as Palermo Stele, the title of the high priest of Anu. So first off, Moor, M-A-U-R, was on the walls of ancient Hikupta, aka ancient Kemet/ancient Egypt. Second, if we do some research, we find out that Palermo Stele actually means Palermo stone. And this stone was given this name because it was removed from Egypt and brought to a museum at Palermo, Italy. It is also known as Royal Annals of the Old Kingdom in ancient Egypt. If we research this stone deeper, we find out that this stone deals with the first 5 dynasties of ancient Hikupta, aka ancient Kemet, aka ancient Egypt. So that means that the Palermo Stele deals with the Egyptian dynasties from 3100 BCE to 2325 BCE. This is from the Encyclopedia Britannica website. This is from the ancientpages.com website. And check out this PDF on academia.edu for more information as well. So now, let's use some common sense. If we look back into history, the word Moor, M-A-U-R, pops up in Mauritania, Mauryan Empire, and Societas Republicae y Almorecanos Estados. The Mauryan Empire, under Chandragupta, is listed from about 321 BCE to 185 BCE. This is from the Encyclopedia Britannica website. This is from the ancient.eu website. This is from the Wikipedia website. Then there is the Societas Republicae y Almorecanos Estados, which is Latin for the United Association of the Republic of Almorecanos, or the United Republic States of Almorecanos. This is the title of the North American government before the arrival of the Europeans. Next up, all of northern Alkebulan, aka Africa, was known as Mauritania at one point, and this was since 300 BCE. This is from the Wikipedia website. Let's read some of what is said about Mauritania. Mauritania is the Latin name for an area in the ancient Maghreb, Tamazgha. It stretched from central present-day Algeria westward to the Atlantic, covering northern Morocco and southward to the Atlas Mountains. Its native inhabitants, semi-nomadic pastoralists of Berber ancestral stock, were known to the Romans as the Mori and the Masazili. Now let's scroll down a bit and see what it says about the Mori people. Mauritania existed as a tribal kingdom of the Berber Mori people. Mori is recorded as the native name by Strabo in the early 1st century. This appellation was also adopted into Latin, whereas the Greek name for the tribe was Moruzi. The Mori people would later bequeath their name to the Moors, M-O-O-R-S, on the Mediterranean coast of North Africa from at least the 3rd century BC. The Mediterranean coast of Mauritania had commercial harbors for trade with Carthage since the 4th century BC, but the interior was controlled by Berber tribes who had established themselves in the region by the beginning of the Iron Age. Well, this is interesting. Once again, the Mori people would later bequeath their name to the Moors, M-O-O-R-S, on the Mediterranean coast of North Africa from at least the 3rd century BC. What does bequeath mean? Bequeath, verb, leave property to a person or other beneficiary by a will. He bequeathed his art collection to the town, pass something on, or leave something to someone else. He ditched the unpopular policies bequeathed to him. Interesting. So that ties into what Dr. Ben was saying when he said,
We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S.
Dr. Ben said we were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S. So common sense should tell us that the knowledge from the high priests of Anu at some point started to spread either through some of the priests leaving Hikupta, aka Egypt, and then spreading their wisdom, and or people coming to Egypt to gain this knowledge through the Egyptian mysteries system, and then going back to their respective areas and teaching others. Hence why all of North Alkebulan, aka Africa, Southwest Asia, and North America all bore the word Moor, M-A-U-R, in their titles. Only a few were privileged to learn the mysteries system. So once you quote-unquote graduated from your 40-year study of the mysteries system in Hikupta, aka Egypt, you became a high priest of Anu, aka a Moor, M-A-U-R. So to be clear, the knowledge of the Moors, M-A-U-R-S, at some point started to spread since BC times. And common sense should also tell us that if they all bore the same title, they must have been unified. And because the high priests of Anu, aka Moors, M-A-U-R-S, were very dark-skinned, when they engaged the Europeans took the title of Moor, M-A-U-R, and gave it the meaning black. And that is what you see in the European language dictionaries today when it says Moor, M-O-H-R, Moro, Moor, M-O-R, etc. It goes back to the Latin word morus, M-A-U-R-U-S. This is from an old German etymology dictionary from 1883. The translation, Moor, M-O-H-R. The M stands for masculinum, which is masculine noun. Schwarze is black. Aus MHD, which is from Middle High German. AHD is Old High German. Moor, then also masculine noun. Aus MLAT, which is from Medieval Latin or Middle Latin, morus. Moor, M-O-H-E-R. Auch is also, F-R-Z is Französisch, which means French. Moor, I-T-A-L, and S-P-A-N is Italian, and Spanish, Moro. So as you see, Moor in German, French, Italian, and Spanish all go back to medieval Latin or Middle Latin Morus. So there you have it. When you say that Moor, M-O-O-R, ancient Hiqupta, aka ancient Egypt, was on the walls, and it went back to at least the first 5 Egyptian dynasties, 3100 BCE to 2325 BCE. Its meaning, the title of the high priest of Anu. And these high priests of Anu, Moors, M-A-U-R-S, later left their knowledge to their beneficiaries, Moors, M-O-O-R-S, when Hiqupta, aka Egypt, began to fall, and the Moors, M-O-O-R-S, became the custodians of the ancient Egyptian knowledge. So, the meaning or etymology of Moor, M-O-O-R, is Moor, M-A-U-R, the title of the high priest of Anu. Oh, and side note, notice how Moor, M-A-U-R, appears on 3 different continents from since BC times? Chapter 47, anyone? Common sense was made before book sense.
But then, so we're not Negroes, we're Moors. That should be clear. And then when you go to Benjamin Rush, who invented the term negritude, the father of American psychiatry, he argued that Negroes suffered from a skin condition which he labeled negritude, akin to leprosy, and that the only cure was for them to become white. Negroes have negritude, and their only cure is for them to become white. While there was no indication that he ever treated African Americans for this quote-unquote disease, he argued against intermarriage between races to ensure that negritude would not be spread further. So how are they going to become white if it's not through blood? If it's not through mixing with Europeans in order to get the negritude out? Remember, this is how the Europeans looking at the Negro. The people who are in power right now that have you thinking everything is real and you don't know you're on the Truman Show. People who control the board. This is how they look at the Negro. They don't look at Moors like this. They don't look at other nationalities in the world like this. They only look at the Negro like this. And remember, Negro is black. And then black is colored. And Drew Ali said, you're not Negro black colored. But then how are people Negro black colored still? So it's always switcheroo. They have the black guys saying that we're negritude. We are trying to find our culture and know who we are as a people, and the Harlem Renaissance, and then we got the dancing and everything, and we're getting out of the slave thing. That's not what negritude is. Negritude is what the Moors are doing. We found a cure of how to become white. We found the cure of how to become white so they don't look at us like Negro, black, and colored.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know the true our leaders started dropping their
happens when you call that European white man, that you're giving him your sovereign power that belongs to you. And when he acts like it, don't get mad. Because you're an heir, and you have a right to sign them. You keep on signing somebody your position because you don't know that you're white, that's on you. Oh, but that's true. I heard somebody, what? Yeah, peanut butter sandwiches. Here. This is law. Now, keep in mind, Knights of Columbus Ku Klux Klan oath, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Illinois, 1854 to 1863, Horace Greeley in competition with Lincoln, Go West Young Man, that's the ritual with the Mummer's Parade that they're using, and the Whig or Moore party, Whig or Moore, they put on wigs that look like Moors. That's why they use it just like they do in England right now. The barristers wear wigs to imitate the Moors. It's what I call the Whig or Moore party.
Yeah, the same thing why the Masons wear the fez. They pretend to be Moors. And why the KKK wears the cloak with the jalabia and the hooded mask. Because they're pretending to be Moors. They're pretending to be the white people. Because the real white people want to be niggers. Because they know that they're not white people. Because they got nationality. They're British, French, German, Dutch. They're not. They're not white people.
Then that became the Republican Party. Then that became the white party. This is when the European took on the title white that belonged to you. It's a status, not a complexion. Now, this is what it's assumed to mean since the Knights of Columbus Ku Klux Klan oath, 1854 to 63, Philadelphia, Chicago, and then the Naturalization Act of 1870, when it started to be used by them calling themselves white. But this is what it really means in law, including supported law case. Are we clear? So let's go through this. Free white persons, quote unquote, is a legal phrase referred in the Naturalization Act. So now you're supposed to know sociology, you're supposed to know Nationalization Act and naturalization. They're distinct. Naturalization is for aliens. Are we clear? Now, as amended July 14th, 1870, which meaning naturally given to it when first used in 1 Statute 103C3, meaning all persons belonging to the European races, then commonly counted as white, and their descendants, including such descendants in other countries to which they have immigrated. And understand in law books you have condensation, so you take what you call your conjunctions and stuff like that, and then you re-interject them, the preps, etc., because it's condensed. So it here is free white persons. You see this? So it, free white persons, includes all European Jews more or less intermixed. If they're not mixed, they can't be free white people. Meaning if they ain't got melanin in them, can't be free white people. It's a legal status. It includes all free European Jews more or less intermixed with peoples of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, and Slavic descent. Free white persons includes Magyars, Lapps, and Finns, and the Basque and Albanians. Free white persons includes the mixed Latin, Celtic, Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal, the mixed Greek, Latin, and Phoenicians, and North African inhabitants of Sicily. North Africans are white people. Do you understand? Phoenicians are white people. Moors are white people. It's a legal status. So, all right, so Iberian and Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal, the mixed Greek and Latin, Phoenician and North African inhabitants of Sicily, and the mixed Slav and Tartar inhabitants of South Russia. Free white persons does not mean Caucasian race. Can y'all repeat this, please? Who can read? Who can read? Who can read? Can you read? All right, let's do this together, y'all. It means free white persons. Free white persons, come on, y'all, does not mean Caucasian race. Free white persons does not mean Aryan race. Free white persons does not mean Indo-European races, nor the mixed Indo-European, Dravidian, Semitic, and Mongolian peoples who inhabit Persia. A Syrian of Asiatic birth and descent will not be entitled to become a naturalized citizen of the United States as being a free white person. Then you got all your law case, so you can see clearly it's a legal status. So what happens when you call that European white man? You just called him sovereign and transferred your estate to him as fofer. Now, as soon as he acts like it, you want to talk about he's racist. See the danger of not being educated? And then you get angry because you just don't know. So the people are destroyed by the day for a lack of knowledge. Man, know thyself.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists till Noble Drew Ali started dropping it. So they tell you, all your Negro leaders tell you, negritude is you finding out about yourself. And Harlem Renaissance and all this. But the European who made up the term negritude tells you that negritude, once again, Negroes suffer from a skin condition called negritude. And that the only cure was for them, the Negroes, to become white. The only way to cure negritude, or, right, because what you're curing is this concept that you're Negro black colored. You're curing yourself from that. Because that's not what negritude is, what they're talking about. Negritude doesn't mean that. Just like kid doesn't mean child. Kid means baby goat. Stop the BS. Don't tell me about kids did something. What kids did something? What kids are you talking about? What are you talking about? Baby goats. Baby goats went to the fridge to get juice. What are you talking about? What do you mean you made baby goat breakfast and you come to the table to eat breakfast? What are you talking about? Doesn't the kid have a name at least? Just a kid? Just a baby goat running around? And then you want to know why they slaughter your children? Because people eat goat meat. Stop playing games. You wouldn't get yourself in messed up situations. Well, we can't do nothing because we can't unite. Because you think you're a crab in a bucket. Why would you unite if you're a crab in a bucket and all you do is pull down each other? Obviously, you're a crab in a bucket. Because human beings don't act like that. Human beings don't act like niggers, just shooting blindly into crowds of people and all this. Human beings don't act like that. Everybody knows what negritude breeds. This European saying that it's a skin color syndrome. We're saying it's a mindset syndrome. It's a mental disease, not skin disease like the Europeans talk about. So to cure yourself from the mental disease, be white. Stop being Negro, black, and colored, because black means pale. Go look it up in the white man's dictionary who just told you that negritude means be white. But you don't want to be white. You want to be Negro, black, colored people. And then want to debate Moors about something. What are you debating Moors about? We already know what's up. We got our birthright. I don't know what you've been doing for the past however years or whatever. But we got our birthright. Because we know the truth now. That we're not Negro, black, colored. We're not fair skin and light skin and all that. We're Moors. People been playing games all these years. In our face. Showing us all types of stuff. Proving it. And we didn't get it. That's why Noble Drew Ali said in the 1900s, we're not Negro, black, or colored. Because all that stuff comes with baggage that you don't want to be carrying. This baggage. Because stuff that you don't want to deal with comes with that. And then you're blaming all these different things that you created, figments of your imagination, for your problems. When the problem is you call yourself black. That's the problem. That's a hex. Call yourself Negro? No, I don't say Negro. That was slave times they called us that. We're black now. No, Negro means black. What are you talking about? They're synonyms. Moor is a nationality. That has nothing to do with people call people stuff. That has nothing to do with that. That's nationality. Just like you're not going to compare, Chinese people and the yellow people, and then there's the yellow rights and yellow lives matter because the yellow people are getting murdered right now, and they're getting, and they're not. You hear them talking crazy? No, they use their nationality. They get a bill passed. So you're not going to touch these Asians. Y'all marching and picking up and down the place. You didn't realize they didn't march and picket for the bill? You didn't realize they didn't burn the city down or whatever? When they killed some Asians. They didn't burn the city down. When Asians getting their ass beat, they didn't burn the city down. They got together as a nationality, and then they got a bill passed. Don't touch these Asians. And you're still playing dumb. You don't get what's going on. All right. Keep playing. These people aren't playing with you. They murder you in the street with people watching on camera. You think they're playing games with you? Keep playing. I don't see any more as they murdered knee on their neck with on camera. Still get bonded out and all that. And you're not realizing that some things obviously not in your favor. You probably need to check yourself. You probably need to check yourself if you're the only one getting murdered in the street. You're the only one filling up prisons and dying at 12 because you're in a shootout. Nobody else, no other nation is going through this madness. Only the Negro, black, colored. And then you realize that, and then you're saying, oh, it's all right. And you just, you be that. No, well, you see, because we're prisoners of war, right? There's no leave people behind if they're alive. Which is why the mission for the Moors is uplifting fallen humanity, because there ain't nothing else to do, because humanity's getting pulled behind the truck. And we have to try and chase the truck down so we can cut this rope around the neck of humanity as the truck's barreling down the street. And as Moors, we're telling people, hey, humanity's on the truck getting dragged or whatever like that. Hey, everybody wants to hear what the Moors are saying, But then humanity is how you have everything, and if you don't respect humanity, then why would you have stuff? You don't honor your foremothers and forefathers, and scriptures told them that. If you don't honor your mothers and fathers, your days are not going to be long on the earth plane. Yeah, so we'll just not honor our foremothers and fathers, and we'll we'll eat Chinese food, and we'll eat Jewish food, and we'll eat whatever. And you go ask, somebody from Hindustan if they eat stuff you eat. Bet they don't. Bet they only eat their stuff and nothing else. Bet they eat their stuff to the point where they'll have your hallway smelling. They'll have your whole neighborhood smelling the stuff they're cooking. And what are you going to do? Nothing. Because you know that's how they do. That's their culture. Oh, so our culture is only shoot each other up and stuff like that. That's only our culture. That's all we're about. That's it. That's it? Or are we greater than that? And then if we're greater than that, then shouldn't we just be that and then get out of all these issues that we're going through? It's pretty logical. No, I mean, like, okay, so let's think about it. So let's say we use hip hop. By 2021, there should be our own music, whatever, that we're distributing all the stuff. We're not talking about 500 different people all over. We're talking about one thing, just like how they have a Universal and they have a whatever. We have a one thing that everybody's under. No, they don't want to do that. They want to be on these people's Forbes list instead of make their own Forbes list. And then instead of, trying to help cut the rope to get humanity out this BS, they want 20 houses for themselves. Is it a little greedy there, buddy? Just a little bit? You don't think it's a little, you don't think it's a little bit greedy? Got 86 trillion and then you're just on yachts and people eating road cereal? There's something wrong. No, I'm not talking about build one ball court or whatever like that. People can't even go outside on the ball court right now. Waste of time. But nah. They're too far gone on the earth plane. They're too far gone. So there's no 5 of us are going to go over here and then we're going to do something as 5 of us. Like, it's not playing yourself. Again, that's why the theme is get this info to our people so they can change up the frequencies in their brain and they can, make their life better. Just because that's deserved. I'm a living entity on this earth plane, right? Struggling and stuff like that. For what? When people got 50 houses. You don't need but a room, a kitchen, whatever like that. You spread the wealth a little bit, just a little bit. No. And just hog just because you can. You're just gonna eat just because you have a mouth. You don't think you're gonna back yourself up? Don't things bust at the seams? Why is it bust at the seams? Because why is it even getting to the point where it has to be busting at the seams? But our people like to learn from pain. That's how we learn best. Pain. When it's painful, then the Negro, blacks, coloreds learn. It hasn't been painful enough yet. Because since the 20s, Drew Ali told us that we're not Negro, black, colored. And people are still Negro, black, colored in 2020. And they're complaining about the situation that they're in. When Drew Ali told them in 1920s that, hey, the names that you call yourself is going to get you mistreated, abused, and exiled. Nah, we don't listen to him. We don't listen to these guys over here. It just came yesterday. The conditions suck, don't they? Why? Because some traitor didn't tell you that you're a Moor. And you lived as black thinking that was a real thing when you were hexing yourself for generations. So we're out the hex now. And those who know, know. Those who are asleep, enjoy nighty-night and all that stuff. Don't let these people classify you as anything other than who your ancient foremothers and forefathers were, without doubt or contradiction. Because as soon as you fall for it, then you're in trouble. Because you should have been told. And why weren't you told? Because your own. Wearing turbans and fezzes and dashikis and whatever else they got, ankhs and red, gold, green flags and red, black, green flags, and they got everything. They got it all. But none of them are telling you about nationality. And everybody else around you has one. Isn't it weird? You don't find, how come when the Hindus come here and they don't set up their little community or whatever, when you go there, It's just them. You go to Chinatown. How come it's not Yellow Town? You go to Yellow Town to get some Chinese food? No. You go to Chinatown to get some Chinese food. Why are you not going to Yellow Town? Think about it. Why is there not a yellow community but there's a black community? They're yellow. How come they don't call themselves yellow? Every cartoon, they make them yellow. How come they don't call them yellow? Why? Because they're not colored. Yellow is a color. They got nationality. They got more sense than that to call themselves a color. Because nationality is the order of the day. But your own want to keep you in negritude, which to them is know yourself and read this book and go to this lecture and watch this live stream of the master teacher. That's negritude. That's not know thyself. Know thyself is, what's your nationality? Phoenician. Wrong answer. Let me see your Phoenician ID right now. Bet you don't have something. Bet you don't have something. Show me the Phoenician ID. You don't have it, don't you? Okay. We're not Negro, black, colored. Or Ethiopian. We're Moors. Remember, it's a spell to keep you bound. Break the spell by not calling yourself the fictitious labels. That's how we get in trouble. Because we're not Negro, black, or colored. We're not that. We are who our ancient foremothers and forefathers were, without doubt or contradiction. Which means these people who we're calling our enemy and whatever like that, they know who we are. Problem is we don't know. And once again, Noble Drew Ali and telling us uplift fallen humanity. Because humanity's fallen over. Humanity's fallen over. We have to get humanity back up. And the way to do that is fallen humanity. Stop being stateless. That's why you're fallen, because you have no state. And you have no estate. You're stateless. Get out of the stateless status and get into your free status. Be the white people again. The free white people. Stop being dead statuses, stateless statuses. Be free statuses. But remember, you could only be free status if you're mixed. One drop of Negro blood, and they'll put you on the tree for one drop. Peace and love to all. Remember, we're not Negro, black, colored, we're Moors. Honors to all the prophets. Supreme honors to Noble Drew Ali. Honors to all mothers worldwide. And Islam to all the Moors.